Knowledge of the vegetation of the northern region of Mozambique has been gradually increasing, but there is still much to discover and many enigmas to be solved. In this context, between the 6th and 8th of April 2023, a botanical expedition was carried out in the Serra da Mesa Mountain, located in the district of Mossuril, province of Nampula, with the aim of surveying the vegetation diversity and its state of conservation. The peak of Serra da Mesa is redundantly a sandstone block. Sandstones are sedimentary rocks resulting from diagenetic processes. It is believed, according to Wilson's theory of tectonic cycles, that as the great continent moved, an oceanic basin was formed in the middle of which a process of convergence began that led to the collision of the two plates, resulting in the closure of the ocean, and thus the Serra da Mesa Mountain was formed. This process provided a specific composition to the sandstones which is based on considerable amounts of feldspars, quartzes, and/or lithic fragments. Each of these minerals has physical and chemical characteristics associated with the presence of potassium, aluminum, calcium, sodium, and other elements. The lithic fragments have a more varied composition, probably arising from volcanic, sedimentary, or metamorphic origins. These structures can have phosphate, manganese, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, zinc, magnesium, etc. And its red color seen on the map is due to the presence of ferrous iron. The sampling methodology was conducted by walking in all accessible area at the Serra da Mesa. The exercise of localization of these areas was carried out using geographic information systems technologies through global positioning system devices to access the routes to the sampling points. During the walk, observations were made to identify all plant species observed and GPS point for the main type of vegetation was registered. All species listed under IUCN Red List were also registered. Also, within walking a 10m to 10m size quadrant were laid out in order to evaluate the dominance of high conservation interest species. Furthermore, species of special interest were identified as threatened species or endemic species. Icuria Forest. This type occurs at the top and center of the range, with only about 99.72 hectares. It may be the largest vegetation type of all those observed. The forest was characterized by a closed canopy coverage of 90 to 100% and the trees were 8 to 12 meters high with emergence of 12 to 15 meters. Ironwood Forest. It is the second major forest after Icuria Forest, with Androstachys johnsonii being the main identified species. Note that all of them occupy a very small area. The main species of this species was observed within Icuria Forest. Hensha crinita subspecies Parviflora and Hyperacanthus microphyllus was the most associated for this type of vegetation. Serra da Mesa is flat, the miombo forest is found on the main route and at the beginning of it. That fact made think that the main type of vegetation was miombo for all area. It's very small area dominated by Jalbanadia globiflora with about 5 meters high. Further into the center area of the Serra da Mesa occurs the miombo forest dominated by Brachystegia microphylla and sparsely some individuals of Brachystegia oblonga both with about 15 meters high. The evergreen forest is characterized by a mixture of several species of small size with about 8 meters high. The most noted species with more than 12 meters high include Inglarophyta magalismentanum, Xanthoxylum cf. Lepriurii, Erythrina sacluxii. Note that is very small area scattered at the center of this serra. At the ground of this forest an Acanthesi and Geophila obvolata subspecies Ioids were common. Seems that apart from Matibane Forest Reserve, Serra da Mesa is the only one where local people use to collect plants resources for their daily use. For example, Coptespama littoral is used for medicinal purposes and Jalbanadia globiflora used for firewood and or charcoal. Also it was observed that species such as Brachystegia oblonga and Androstachys johnsonii are collected for timber. A collection of mushrooms was also observed at the Serra da Mesa. It was notable that the population makes a lot of effort to climb and collect resources in this mountain. However, it is evident that nearby, this mountain is the only that the population has. Therefore, the risk of deforestation is imminent because the vegetation has been cleared for smallholder farming, housing, etc. The geological formation of Serra da Mesa is a marine paleo-environment consisting of marls and beach deposits. Currently, Serra da Mesa is not formally protected. Although there is no survey of faunal diversity on this mountain, the main conservation suggestion is to consider this area as a biodiversity reserve or tropical important plant area or key biodiversity area or an ecological park or special reserve due to the existence of a great diversity of plant species in a very small area.